This guy, Dara Khosrowshahi, never, ever ceases to amaze me. Here it says the Uber CEO works on the app for a day. He actually went out there and did some restaurant deliveries, right? Just like show the people, oh, I'm part of you, maybe earning $45 million, but I can get on my bicycle and do some deliveries. I can be part of you, right? He did this once as an Uber driver and screwed up on his first trip. That was quite laughable. This story is amazing. So he works on the app for a day and accidentally reveals drivers barely make minimum wage. So he goes out and works and then accidentally reveals that, hang on, these drivers really barely make minimum wage. I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, what type of a CEO does that, right? It's like clumsy talk, right? When you just like talk to make stuff up or be cool or like, hey, I'm part of you. And you start spewing shit, right? And a lot of the times it just backfires because the one thing he cannot do is stand up in public, appear in public, duke it out with reporters, right? It's always like in the background, oh, yeah, my investors, I've got to keep them happy. I've got to be very careful what I say here. Socially challenged, I think, would be a good way to describe this guy, right? So Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi, whose annual salary is more than 12 million, quite a bit more than that, right? With a $2 million security entourage, by the way, accidentally revealed on Twitter that Uber Eats drivers may barely make more than minimum wage in San Francisco after tweeting about his experience and profits working on the app for a day. Spent a few hours delivering for Uber Eats, he wrote on Saturday. San Francisco is an absolutely beautiful town. I thought it was a city. Restaurant workers were incredibly nice every time. It was busy. And there he is on his bicycle or scooter, I'm not sure. Says he did 10 trips, earned himself 45 points, made 98 bucks, right? Twitter users asked him to share a detailed breakdown of his trips on the food delivery app, and he said he earned $106 over 5.5 hours, over just over $19. San Francisco's minimum wage is $16.07. Uber Eats drivers, part-time contractors who provide their own transportation, food, healthcare, etc., often take home less than that figure, sometimes less than minimum wage. Now, my guess is, drives around for a few hours. If the numbers were not right, maybe the numbers, maybe the orders were slightly rigged, maybe the people that made the orders were part of the company. Who knows how they orchestrated those 10 trips, right? So we don't really have any control over that, right? But I'm sure had the numbers been half, you would have said, well, you know what, we got to do this PR campaign again because hang on, drivers are making way too little. I can't portray that to the outside world. So let's get 10 trips here together and let's show them we made 98 bucks. 98 bucks ain't much, folks. Uber did not immediately respond to a request for comment. If you try to earn money, it's purely on the delivery fee. It comes out to about $5 an hour. Peter Young, a rideshare driver who works for Uber Eats and other companies in Los Angeles, told The Guardian earlier this year. A good day for me is maybe earning $100 before gas and expenses off 8 hours of work. Adding, I'm looking for other work. I can't keep doing this at this pay. Last fall, major gig economy companies like Uber, Instacart, and Lyft approved Proposition 22, a California ballot initiative that exempts workers for these companies from a state law enforcing companies to classify certain gig workers as employees and give them benefits. The companies outspent their opponents 10-1, shelling out more than $200 million in their campaign for Prop 22, making it the most expensive state ballot measure in California history. As a concession to labor groups, the companies put in a provision that they would offer stipends to subsidize their workers' private health care, but surveys suggest most drivers are ineligible for coverage. They know a lot of their drivers are already on Medicare and Medi-Cal. Jerome Gage, a Southern California-based driver for Uber and Lyft and a worker organizer, told MarketWatch, referring to state and federal health programs for low-income people. If you have an employer-based healthcare plan, that also disqualifies you. They put all these barriers in place. Don't we know that well? The ballot measure was a response to AB 5, a law in California, a huge market where many gig economy companies are headquartered, forcing companies to classify gig workers as employees. Uber and others refuse to comply with the law and threaten to shut down their California operation. Mr. Koshashawi's post also highlights the strange economics of companies like Uber. Despite his fantastic compensation and the company's nearly 100 billion market capitalization, Uber has never turned a profit, instead retaining its influence and ubiquity thanks to venture capital funding. Look, you have endless dollars. Only people he has to answer to is investors, because their strategy is subsidize, kill the competition, drive all the small companies, taxi organizations, shuttles out of business so that they can dominate. That's how they think, and that's how they operate. So getting on a bicycle, Dara, you're not impressing me, right? You're not winning big fans here, right? And it looks like you got quite a sunburn as well, or maybe have a hangover because your eyes are rather squint. Maybe you had a couple of shots too many the night before. But here's what I do ask you, Dara, right? You know I'm your biggest critique, definitely not your biggest fan. Why don't you go out there and do a week of Ubering, right? Let's say in UberX or XL, and make a little mini documentary of you out there as a CEO. Maybe that would score you some points, right? Doing a full week, morning till night. Do what an average driver does for a full week. Get back to us with those numbers, those hours that pay, and then let's talk, right? I would think the guy would be rather embarrassed showing us his Monday to Monday earnings. But let's see if he takes that invite. Now, huge shout out to an amazing company, Legal Rideshare. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you never ever get into an accident, but if you do, you got to make sure you follow the right steps. So reach out to Brian Greening or his staff at Legal Rideshare. They're in all 50 states. Even if you are with a different legal company and you're not happy with the progress, hit them up. If you're stuck somewhere in the process, you want to make sure you follow the steps correctly, right? Because there's potentially a lot of money to be made here. I wish you nothing but a fantastic day. What do you think about this cheap PR campaign that he tweeted and this big boo-boo that he did there where he reveals that people are not really making the big money here, right? There he is again. Take one look at him. And then here, Uber CEO works on app for a day and accidentally reveals drivers barely make minimum wage. I ask you again, which CEO does this, right? Have a great day.